Yeah, I like to start on positive notes a lot. So I want to say Bernie Sanders, he's proving to you, which I tell people a lot. They're like, I'm 30, I'm 40, I didn't do it. You can do anything at any time. It's never too late to try to start a business or do something you love or make videos or pursue your passion or your craft. So if you're elderly, whether it's 80, 90, if hopefully there's some 100-year-olds watching me, I hope so, 60, 70, 50, 40, 30, 20, 10. It's never too late to reach for your dreams and your goals. So if there's one beautiful thing you could take out of Bernie Sanders, it's never too late. You could run for president at 77. You could be president at 70, whatever Trump is. It's like the dude's 70 and he's just so good at Twitter. I love it. But yeah, you could do anything. And I do want to say, Bernie did show me inadvertently, I believe, maybe he meant to, maybe he didn't, how fake the media was. And for the Bernie thing, I'm going to talk about it. Yes, he's running. It's a big pool. Kamala Harris, Cory Booker, Elizabeth Warren, that lady in the snow that I don't know her name because she's not really relevant enough. Tulsi Gabbard. Howard Schultz is peeking his head in there. He's like, Starbucks? Hey, I got you, my man. This is not a paid ad. I just literally bought it, and I don't know. I felt like it was a nice thing to do. Although you guys are such a big company, my cosign doesn't really matter. But anyway, to be honest, it's not my favorite coffee now that we're going to really talk about it. It's all right. It's okay. It's pretty good. Anyway, I want to explain why I liked Bernie Sanders last time and why I'm almost positively not going to support him now, because it gets misconstrued on the right and the left. On the left, I'm realizing, although a lot of them are very frustrated with me, a lot of progressives, including a lot of my friends, are very upset with me. I think low-key a lot of them still like me because I still have the best progressive Bernie Sanders song maybe ever made. And that's not a brag. I don't have that much competition. I don't think there's that many Bernie Sanders songs. Like, it's not like, oh, I just won a Grammy. It's like I'm one of 5 people that probably made a song, and maybe mine's the best one. Maybe it's not. But I still have their song. Like, my friend is like, man, Anomaly, I hate that you like Trump now, but Bernie Sanders' trap anthem still bangs. So I was like, it is what it is, my man. It's out there for you. I did take it off Spotify, though, because he just annoys me, where I'd rather not make money and just, I'm like, you could listen to it on YouTube. I took it off Spotify. But the reason I like Bernie Sanders and the reason I switched, people think I'm a liar or I'm fake or I was like super socialist and I changed and I sold out because I got a lot of money or something, which is all not true. But I'm going to explain my journey. I've done it a few times, but I'm going to really explain it now and why I'm most likely not going to support Bernie. But I pay attention to everything, whether it's Trump, whether it's Bernie. I want to know every bit of the way. Like, I'm not just going to choose someone and ignore everything else. Like, what if Trump, poops himself on stage and Bernie Sanders says he's going to give me like a free lollipop and end all the Middle East wars? Then I'm going to be like, I don't know, Trump, you shouldn't have pooped yourself. Now Bernie's looking better. Like, not that that's going to happen. That's a ridiculous example, but you know what I mean. I want to observe everything. I'm very observant. I like Bernie Sanders because my whole life, when I was growing up, I was into the conspiracy theory, aka the truth that no one else was talking about back in 2008. I was always interested in that stuff. I was looking into Al-Qaeda, the Bush family, the two-party system, Freemasons. I was diving down every rabbit hole known to man. So one thing I did conclude was, you know what? The two-party system's a setup. Obama is a puppet. McCain, puppet. Like Bush, puppet. So I was like, man, we need somebody else. Like, this is a lie. And I understood the Middle East pattern. It was a path to destruction. And also, nothing was getting done in our country, from the education system. If we're the best country in the world, why is our education system suffering? Who knows what we're down to now? It's not even top 10. So I was frustrated. Like a lot of Trump supporters, like a lot of Bernie supporters, I was frustrated that the system's a lie. And I was always more left-leaning because I was an environmentalist. Although I didn't believe into the political lies and the socialist, communist lies, I was interested in the prison system and how it was disproportionately jailing blacks and Hispanics. And, that was my interest. So Bernie caught my eye and I was like, yo, this guy's different. He's not a Democrat or a Republican. He's an outsider. I was like, that's what we need, an outsider. And then I saw clips of him when he was in the 70s talking about gay people and the black community where no one was doing that. And I found it and he was marching with Martin Luther King. I was like, wow, Bernie's really the real deal. Like, there's no other politicians like this. And you have to understand, for my vantage point and a lot of others, besides Rand Paul, and Ron Paul, really, I don't really like any politicians overly much. Like, I find them all, like, the Congress is just awful. The Congress is just awful. For 320 million people in America or whatever it is, that's the best we could pick. Yikes. But Bernie seemed different. He seemed better. Even with Obama, I knew Obama was a puppet, but my thought process, I lowered my expectations. I said, you know what? Obama's the chosen puppet, but I find him a little more authentic than George Bush. So that was my like, he's doing the same stuff, but it is what it is. You know, I got complacent. I was like, at least he plays basketball and he likes Kendrick Lamar and he smokes weed. Like, seriously, this is like 21-year-old me. I'm like, Obama's a puppet, but whatever. And then Bernie came along. Didn't pay attention to Trump, never was into Republican stuff, didn't even really watch him. But Bernie was saying all the right things. I went to his rallies, I started getting involved, and he was saying, we need a political revolution, I'm an outsider, the establishment. So when Bernie's talking about the establishment, I assume he's talking about the Bushes, the Clintons, you know, the intelligence communities, the, you know, global cabal, as Alex Jones would call it, the globe. Like, that's what I thought Bernie was talking about. So I heard his socialism, and I wasn't, before this last year, I wasn't economically savvy at all. I just knew healthcare was annoying, taxes were obnoxious, but I didn't know economics. So my thought process was, well, he's a matrix breaker. He's going to end the wars. You know, he's going to stop the two-party system. I don't agree with $15 minimum wage. Even when I went to his rallies, I never thought that was a good idea, because my thought process even then was, well, if you raise $15 minimum wage, it's going to hurt, you know, mom and pop shops and restaurants, people that have to pay dishwashers $10 an hour. I've been a dishwasher before for my friend's Italian restaurant. I've washed dishes, and, you know, they didn't pay me a lot, but they can't really afford to pay me $15 an hour for washing dishes. I understood that. Honestly, if you want to be, I would smoke marijuana at the time, and I'd just be washing my hands, and they'd be really like warm, and I just appreciated that. I was like, at least, like, that's the type of mindset I had even then. I was like, I'm washing dishes, but at least this water's warm on my hands. Let's just say I'm low maintenance. I'm easy to please. For anyone out there that if you thought you had to buy me a car or something, no, just give me a joint and some water, some hot water, and I'll be happy for 5 hours, and I'll work for minimum wage. Anyway, I never thought minimum wage was a good idea, but I didn't have a lot of options. I thought the Republicans were crazy, so I really liked Bernie, and I didn't care that his socialism didn't seem to add up. I was like, whatever. So as it's going on, the really great thing about the Bernie campaign, which I later realized wasn't really Bernie, but more his supporters like myself and others, was we were exposing the media. We exposed Google's bias. The Bernie Sanders community was very strong on Reddit, on Facebook. I mean, they can act like they don't like Anomaly and that they're all mad, but low-key, they know I was a driving force in the Bernie Sanders campaign. Not to boast or brag, but honestly, a lot of the strategies that people started using, I'm very social media savvy, so I created certain strategies and certain post styles that people, even to this day, they always share my posts. That's fine, I'm just saying, it's like, don't get mad at me when I helped Bernie really grow, and I was really boosting the Bernie community. I had the song, got 10 million plays. All my friends were blasting the Bernie Sanders trap anthem. To this day, it's my biggest song ever. Not the Trump one, the Bernie one. I was pushing posts. I was breaking media narratives. Left, right. I quit my job, to be very honest with you. I had a job. I saved up a couple $1,000s, not a lot. Enough to be like, you know what? I was so passionate about it. I quit my job for 6 months, and all I did without pay was debunk media narratives specifically for Bernie Sanders. And I wasn't even growing on social media myself really much at all, a little bit, but not like now. I was making no money. But to me, and that's why when some people say to me now, like, oh, this, like, I put my life on the line. I risked everything I had. I risked all my money for the truth and for what I thought was right, even when I know it didn't pay. So now the fact that I'm getting rewarded for it, it's not easy to do. And most people won't take the risks I took. But anyway, I'm breaking media narratives, and it's important. I've always been against the mainstream media. But what I noticed, the reason I'm saying this is, I noticed after the Bernie campaign and after he kind of was like, I lost, I'm gonna support Hillary, I noticed that the difference between Bernie Sanders and Trump was Bernie Sanders wasn't calling out the media. Bernie Sanders supporters were calling out the media. So I'm doing the work. Jared Beck, there's hundreds of thousands, if not millions of Bernie Sanders supporters. We were all working very hard because similar to the Trump movement, we don't have the media. We don't have the celebrities at the time. We had like 3 celebrities. The rest hated us. We had no help, so we had to be the media. And we were getting crushed and crushed and crushed and crushed. And Bernie did nothing. He did nothing for us. I don't know if he once called out the media. Trump called out the media 20, 30 times. Trump backed Bernie up. He said Bernie got cheated. If you notice, and I know there's going to be some Bernie supporters who watch this, Bernie didn't help us. Bernie hung us out to dry. Trump helped us more than Bernie helped us. We helped ourselves. There's people from, the DNC fraud lawsuit to others who put their lives on the line for Bernie Sanders. And Bernie did nothing for his supporters. Nothing. $180 million raised. Nothing. Said he was going to fight the establishment. Supported Clinton. Nothing. Total fraud. I'm not just talking about, he did that and then he realized he lost. No, he did nothing for us. He didn't call out the media. He didn't fight. He just said, he actually, and this is why, Bernie people don't understand. They say, well, Trump, I don't agree with everything Trump says, and I don't agree with anything Bernie says. I just like Bernie more. To me, there's a difference. And as anybody who watches this, you don't have to agree. And you could have your own perspective. But to me, not only did he do all that stuff, he supported campaign for Hillary. Okay, I get it. Trump wins. Later, this last year, and he starts pushing the Russia collusion hoax. And he starts saying, on air, he said, if any of my supporters, this is roughly quoted, not direct representation, go watch for yourself. It's very accurate. I'm just protecting myself. It's not 100%. He said, if any of my supporters who voted for Trump or voted for someone else instead of Hillary, they were co-opted by Russia, he thought that his supporters couldn't possibly not want to vote for Hillary. He started playing along with the media narrative. So not only did he not stand up for his supporters, not only did he raise $180 million and buy a 3rd vacation home or something, but he not only didn't stand up for his supporters against the media lies, he threw his own supporters under the bus and he said, if you didn't believe the media narrative, you're Russian. And he's like, I campaigned, this is a quote, I didn't write it down, but it's a tweet from Bernie. He said, I campaigned really hard for Hillary Clinton. And just to think that the country of Russia was working against me, he's using you. He didn't stand up for you. He didn't back us up. He didn't support us. He didn't call out the media. He joined the media. To me, the establishment is the media who starts the wars. It's the media who divides our country. It's the media on both sides who sells pills and sells war, and that's the only thing they agree with. It's the political elite class from the George Bush to the Clinton to the Obama. That is the establishment. That's who I thought he was going to fight. That's who everybody that supported Bernie thought he was going to fight. Come on, admit it. That's who you thought we were going against. That's not who he's going against. He likes them. He'll throw you under the bus and say, don't attack the media. That's dangerous. Really, Bernie? Are you talking about the same media and the same tech companies who made it nearly impossible for you to win via superdelegate count and biased reporting, misleading people to thinking you lost before the election even started? I followed the Bernie campaign daily. I quit my job and lost, my rent at the time was $1,000 flat. I lost $6,000 plus food, plus not gaining money, plus taxes. I lost a lot of money supporting Bernie Sanders because I thought to myself, I don't want to spend my life at this office. I'd rather go broke than let this country go to shit via the establishment. I quit my job and put 6 months of my time for free on the line, where I could go and get paid $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 from an agency. I quit. I sacrificed that much money for Bernie. And he has the nerve to say, no. The media should not be attacked or criticized. That's very dangerous. And if you didn't listen to me voting for Hillary, I voted for Jill Stein. If you voted third party or voted for Trump, then Russia must have gotten to you. No, Russia didn't get to me with their $5 Bill O'Reilly, Jesus versus the devil, hand wrestling. Oh yeah, I'm going to vote for Trump now because Bill O'Reilly told me to vote for Jesus. No, Bernie, that's not what did it for me. I've known this stuff for a decade. Some of this stuff, it's deeper than that. Not only did he do that, he puts out tweets and he says, Trump lies all the time. He's like, well, me and George Bush disagreed a lot, but at least George Bush was just a conservative. Trump's a perpetual liar. So it's like, who is this guy, Mr. Anti-Establishment? He's throwing his own people under the bus after they sacrificed their lives, including myself, to raise $180 million for him. He throws us under the bus. He sides with the media. He sides with George Bush. He sides with Hillary Clinton. He'll do anything. He's not anti-establishment. He's pro-establishment, socialist communist who understands the only way that socialism or democratic socialism or full-fledged communism is going to come to this country is through the Democratic Party. Bernie Sanders understands that. Yes, he's independent because he wants to go further left, but he knows who his friends are. His friends are Obama. His friends are George Bush. His friends are Hillary Clinton. His friends are the establishment. His friends are the media, who is pushing far leftism anyway, mixed in with establishment, creepy leftism, warmongering stuff that I know progressives don't agree with. He knows that those are his friends because they don't... Communism and progressive socialism is not a threat to the establishment. Like Bernie says, I'm going to fight the establishment, but I'm going to be a socialist. Why do you think he stands with the Bushes and the Clintons and the media? It's because he's not anti-establishment. He's going to use the establishment, and they're going to use Bernie because high taxes and government control of the health industry is not a threat to the establishment. That's what any dictator could dream of. Wait, I don't want insurance companies and lobbyists and and all these pharmaceutical agencies. Like, yeah, of course they're sold out and they're totally corrupt, but like, let's just kick all them out of the way and we'll put it all into my hands. That's not a threat to the government. The government control of the entire health industry. And don't get me wrong, the health system is corrupt. I would love to find a way to give people more access to affordable health care, everyone. But putting the whole health industry into the hands of the federal government is not anti-establishment, it's not anti-government, and it's not a threat to the Democratic Party or the establishment on the right wing. That's why they said Mitt Romney wrote the Obamacare bill. I'm sure he did. I don't trust none of these folks, from right to left. I'm sure Mitt Romney did. He's not a real conservative. So I hope, and Bernie already raised, I'm only one person and I'm not going to force my perspective down your throat. Although it's probably much more true than the opposition, but I'm biased as well. As far as, yeah, of course I'm going to think it's a better argument, but I'd love to debate and have a conversation because Bernie already raised $1 million. So people, even though he sucked up $180 million, joined the establishment, is totally not a threat to any establishment. He's not a threat to the EU. He's not a threat to the UN. He's not a threat to the global takeover. He's not a threat to Hillary. He's not a threat to the right wing. He's not a threat to anybody. They are just such power-hungry morons that they don't understand that Bernie would probably help them. So it's like an inner fight because they're all such like power-hungry psychos. But beware of the wolf in sheep's clothing. That's all I'm going to say. Because if you give another $180 million to this guy, first of all, he's probably not going to win. His time's passed. People like me and millions of people like me will never support him again. There's a lot of Green Party people that don't like him. There's a lot of anti-establishment, anti-media people. He'll do well. Maybe he can win the nod for the Democratic Party. Probably not. It's going to be interesting to see because I think a lot of Bernie supporters also like Tulsi Gabbard more, including myself. So I don't know if he's going to do that well. But if you guys are going to throw money at him, it's just like, I think of it as like, and Alyssa Milano, I don't want to quote her, but she's like, could somebody take advantage of us? Yeah, for sure. People do all the time. So it's like getting punched in the face and like walked all over, and you're just like, yes, Bernie, do it again, Bernie, do it again. Even though I let you get away with all this stuff, you didn't stand up for me. You didn't fight the media. You really didn't fight the establishment. You didn't call out Google or the tech companies. You didn't call out the rigged superdelegate system, or Tulsi Gabbard's fighting the superdelegate system way harder than Bernie is. Just take my money again, and maybe we'll get universal health care. It's like government-controlled health care. That's my number one priority. Questionable priorities. I get it. You might like health care, but sheesh, if you're willing to ignore 1,000 red flags just for government-controlled health care, when it comes, you might realize that the government control of an entire industry, especially as serious as health, especially when they're passing laws to abort 9-month-old babies in the womb for mental health reasons. Really sketchy stuff. Just murder a baby mid-birth and resuscitate it and then kill it, like Ralph Northam said, word for word. Listen to what he said. And you want the government to control the whole health industry to the point you can't opt out of it? Because you don't have to get health insurance under Trump care. You can go to a doctor and say, get your own plan. Or you could go, there's a lot of these pop-up shops where it's like their own little health community where you can pay into. Freedom. You don't have to, but under government-controlled health care, they're already slaughtering literally about to be born babies and passing insane legislation. Even if you're pro-choice, makes no sense. You're going to reap what you sow. And if that's the type of leader that you support just because you're desperate for health care, it's ugly. But best of luck. And, to my progressive followers, thank you for listening to me and thank you for considering me. I know it's tough to listen to opposing views. It's very hard, and a lot of people even on the right wing can't do it. And I appreciate progressives who watch me, who like Bernie Sanders and Tulsi, who still consider what I'm saying, because you might realize a few things, and then I'm going to move on. You might realize that I'm going to give you 20 times as much information as a lot of progressives and other elements that they don't, and they might give you in others. You also might find out when it's all said and done that I was the one who wasn't lying to you and using all of these things to push you towards universal health care, because it's like these progressives that I watch, they'll be like this, and they're like their end goal, my end goal is like, change yourself to change the world. Take care of yourself. Do what you love, no matter how old you are. Like, I'm trying to boost you up in your individual life, because I know that regardless of who's in the government or who's doing this and that, we have at least now manifest destiny where you can go from nothing to something in this country, even though it is getting worse and better in some ways. We have that ability. That's my overarching message every time. When you listen to progressives, they'll say all this stuff and their overarching message is universal health care. That's the government control of the health industry. It's wolf in sheep's clothing stuff. It's like, yeah, it's bad, corrupt, war. Give the government the health industry. Give the government the health industry. Give the government the health industry. Trust me, universal health care. That's their overarching theme. They don't really care if you're, and I'm not saying they don't care, but it's like, you can be successful. You can do something in this world. You can change yourself and, create your own destiny. The thought that big government and government control of entire industries is your number one goal in this world, that you think is going to somehow benefit your life, when we already know the government's lying about, Food and Drug Administration, when it comes to pills and diets, we've been getting misled for decades. It's not like they're the be-all, end-all. They don't do almost anything right. The VA gets $200 billion, and it's not good health care. The government doesn't do very much good work in anything. Their scientists are a sham. Their health industries. Why in the world would you think that's the number one most... Well, he can lie to me about that. He can lie to me. He can throw me under the bus. He can do that. He can do that. As long as I get my government-run health care, he's not a threat to the establishment. He is a wet dream for any dictator ever. He's a wolf in sheep's clothing, and so are most progressives. I'm just being honest. And you could watch them. I do as well. I like a lot of their information, but be very careful to somebody who sells you on these things and then tells you to give the entire health industry to the federal government. I tell you to have a good day. Enjoy yourself. Life is too short. Drink a glass of water. Go for a hike. Understand that even whatever your life is, perception and perspective is what makes us happy. That's why I said I could be a dishwasher and I'm washing my hands with warm water. I'm having more fun than multimillionaires with all this money. It's not just about money. Money helps for sure. You don't want to be broke forever and dependent on stuff. But you also don't want to be dependent on the federal government for success and health and life. It's not a good strategy. It's very, very dangerous. And Bernie Sanders, kind of a cuck. I just thought that was funny to say. I know someone's like, I don't call you a cuck, Anomaly. Don't call Bernie a cuck. I think it's funny. Sorry, I called conservatives cucks earlier this week. Not everybody, I know, because, oh my God, Anomaly, I'm a conservative. I agree with you. I'm not saying you're a cuck then. I just think it's a funny word to say. And now that everyone's getting so mad at political correctness, I think it's a perfect time to start using the word cuck more. And I think cuck-servatives is hilarious. And you can call me a cuck if you want, but I might be salty one day and block you, but most of the time not. I'll probably think it's funny at this point. Anyway. 4 stories. I'm sorry. I'm only 2 in. Wow, I got 2 more stories. Thank you guys for joining. God bless you. I need to drink water. We'll chill for 30 seconds. I'll read some of your comments. How about that? And then we'll go into the second 2 stories. Ooh. So, I want to say, guys, if you don't do anything, check out my podcast. It's on Google, Apple, and anywhere that there's podcasts. It's called Make America Debate Again. If you search Make America Debate Again, you'll find it. I had a really good debate, and some people are hating on Nuance, bro. Some people are hating on me, but it's a great debate, and it wouldn't have been a debate without him. So we talked about the Trump wall, the Constitution. We talked about America, culture, immigration. We talked about everything, and it's my favorite episode yet. And you know, I have high standards as far as my work, like what I like and don't like. I'm not just going to tell you it's my favorite if it's not. I'm not a salesman like that. It legitimately is my favorite episode of the podcast so far, and I'm really, really excited about it. So thank you, Nuance, bro, and check that out. Make America Debate Again. I know podcasts are cool. That's why I did this podcast, and I finally got a really good debate that I'm really proud of. So check that out. Thank you to everybody supporting. Thank you to everybody signing up to my free email list. If you haven't gotten an email, it's because I rarely send them out. I just collect the emails. So when I need to send it out, I don't like to be annoying. I hate emails myself, so I don't like to just burden people. I'll send one every 2 months or so if I go on tour or I have a new thing out. But sign up to my free email list and subscribe on YouTube. Thank you to everyone supporting in all those ways. Someone said it's okay if it's vodka, bro. I'm not going to just chug vodka. It's water. It's funny, before I get into the next show, or the next topic, it's funny with Bernie and Trump's, their slogans, if you think about it, Feel the Burn and Make America Great Again. Those are two of the biggest political slogans of our era, besides maybe Obama's Hope and Change or whatever, but they are both pretty bad as far as can be easily misconstrued. Feel the Burn sounds kind of like an STD, or you have itchy private areas. It's I thought it was so cool when I was in it. It's feel the burn, but then it's that's not really a good slogan. And then it's Make America Great Again. You know, people were like, when was America great? Or what are you talking about, slavery? And even, to be honest, branding wise, they both worked really well as far as reach. But I was yeah, Make America Great Again. It's definitely very easy to misconstrue. So both of the biggest slogans are what? But maybe that's part of what makes them great, is that they're, sometimes controversy sells. So people are burn, Make America Great Again, you racist. And then it's